Happy Monday, friends. I'm glad you're joining me for my Marvelous Monday. I'm Angela Meyer, and I'm with Wild Violet's Art. Tonight we're going to be playing with a few things. None of them go together, but I liked them, and I've been meaning to purchase them, and so I finally got my hands on them. They're from last year, but and they're still available. So tonight we're going to be playing with the Courage and Faith stamp set. We're going to be playing with the um, designer tags and also with um, the fun pattern embossing folder. So some of the things that are from last year, there's a couple different scenarios I want you to know about. So on stamp sets, um, you're going to need to check two different places. You can check online and you'll always get an answer. But if you're a catalog person, then the Courage and Faith stamp set is, let me change this around so you can see what I'm doing, is on page 93 of the new annual catalog. So you're going to need to go to, if you want to find it, you'll need to go to the index, and they have dies and they have stamps. And so the stamp set say that it's page 93, and you can see that it's featured right here. It's also in the picture. They have a new, really pretty sentiment or stamp set that You Are Beautiful that I'm going to have to pick up next. But I just loved all the verses that was in this Courage and Faith. So we're going to be playing with this one. And then this die set, which is the designer tags. The designer tags was in last year's, I don't remember if it was in the annual catalog or if it was one of the minis, but now it's available only online. So you won't find this in the catalog. So it's always good for you to check online when you're not able to find something. And then this cute little fun pattern embossing folder has two different embossing folders in it. And I'm using this one here with the little daisies. You can say it's got a great argyle as well. And this also is on the online only part of the Stampin' Up! Website. Okay, so I'm going to be using this big tag, the really cute little butterfly, and this little sprig. And I am using these two sprigs, and may the Lord bless and keep you. So this is the card that I made, and we're going to make it together, and I'll bring it up close so you can see that even though it has embossing on it, it still has plenty of room for you to write a sentiment. But I love how this big tag is able to incorporate it, and I like the way that you can thread the ribbon through it. So it's really pretty. Okay, and then just as a reminder, and I put the information in my detail as well, but there is a sale going on right now for any bundle or one of the stamp and cut and emboss machines. So this is one of the minis, and it's in boho blue. It was an exclusive offer last year for new signups for demonstrators. They don't have it anymore. But it is 10% off, and it's only while supplies last. So you won't find this in any of the catalogs. It's only available online, and it's 10% off. So it's a great deal. And I'm going to show you how both these stamp sets and this embossing folder will fit in this machine. So, okay. So let's get started. So this is just a fun little Z fold. And if you purchase anything from me tonight for $25 or more, I'll send you the embellishment of your choice. There's either the new in color resin dots, and then there's these shimmer dots, or shimmer gems. So you can see the shimmer gems are just really pretty, and the resin dots are just really cute little plastic dots. Okay, so you decide. All right. So what I did is I took an 8.5 by 11, I cut it in half, and then I scored it at 5.5 and 2 3/4. And then I'm working with a number of other pieces. So this is 2 little pieces that we'll use for the embossing, and they are 2 inches by 4 1/4. So they'll fit really nicely on each one of the panels. Okay, so now there's 2 different ways you can do this. You can either stamp this in black and you can color, or you can stamp it in color and you don't need to do any coloring, anything further, and I'll show you that in a little bit. Okay, so all right, I'm going to need a little piece of, this is Petunia Pop, and then I have the Summer Splash. So these are 2 of the end colors. And then I have a piece of ribbon, and then I have a piece of the basic white cardstock. Okay, so these are going to be for the butterfly and for the little sprig. And then this piece right here is 3 inches by 4 1/4. And if you take a look at it, it fits this tag perfectly. And then obviously I need to die cut out one of these butterflies and one of these little sprigs. So you don't have to have it, but I just think it kind of adds a real pretty little frame for this sweet sentiment and the little sprigs here. Okay, so before I'm going to be die cutting, I'm going to be stamping on this first. So I'm going to go ahead and do it in black again and just show you how I did this. I used Memento ink. So what I've done is I've used a basic white craft pad. When they come empty. And what you can do is you can get the Memento re-inker and you can ink it up. And I just find that it's way easier to get the ink that I need on my stamps. I don't want to get any ink on my hand more than I normally do. Okay, that turned out perfect. Oh, and then I need the sentiment in the middle. May the Lord bless you and keep you. Numbers 6:24. Such a beautiful little sentiment. I think everybody needs a lot of encouragement. And I don't know about you, but I love sending paper hugs. And I love getting them. So for those that are on my team or close friends, I like to send out cards. So, okay. All right, so I'm going to let this sit for a little bit so that I don't bleed. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do some die cutting and I'm going to do some embossing. So just put that aside. Okay, so much like the bigger Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, it's got a 1 plate and a 2 plate, and so they go on top, and I stagger them because I find that this is a little bit smaller. It's a little tougher to get it to go through. Before I put this through, I'm going to line it up and then use some Post-it note stickies to keep it in place so it doesn't shift when I'm trying to die cut it. Things do like to move around a little bit. There we go. And then I just need one of the butterflies and this little sprig. Okay. So I'll just hold that there. Little butterfly here. Get my sprig and my butterfly back over here. Okay. Now I'm going to do the embossing, and I'm going to change out the number 2 plate for the number 4 plate. Okay, so I've got these 2 little strips that are 2 inches. Did I forget the embossing folder? Nope, there it is. Okay, so when you have these embossing folders, they have a little line on here, and that makes it so that you can line up your cardstock. And so what I do is I will line it up and then squeeze it forward. And then I always make sure that my folding line goes in first, and that makes sure that I don't end up hurting my embossing folder. Oops, 1 and 4, and then the embossing folder goes in with it. Oh, you know what? This isn't the, there's a thick one, and this is the thin. Sorry, the thin embossing folder needs a number 3, not the number 4. My mistake. All right. So you can see how cute this little embossing is. Isn't that sweet? All right, so I'm going to do it one more time. And again, I'm going to line it up with the line, making sure that it's correct, squeezing it together, placing the number 3 over the top so it makes a sandwich. And I'll back this out a little bit. There we go. Okay, so the 3 is for the thin embossing folders, and the 4 is for the 3D embossing folders. Okay, so we'll put all this stuff away. All right, so now with my card, and as a reminder, I've scored it at 5.5 and 2 3/4, and this is an 11-inch by 4 1/4. I'm just going to line up my little corners and braze it with my embossing or my bone folder. And then I'm going to bend this back so that I can have just a fun Z fold. Okay, now to assemble, I'm going to put these little 2-inch embossed pieces on both sides. So I'm putting this on the inside, folded back, and the inside in the card. Okay. It looks like I've got just a smidge too much, too long, so I'm just going to trim a little bit. It's better to trim than have it too short. Okay. All right, so now I'm going to layer a small piece so that it matches the square of where the sentiment is. And this is 2 3/4 by 2 7/8. And as you can see, it's going to fit really nicely on here. Try not to touch the glue. It's always a challenge. And I'm going to line it up so that it ends up being about 1/8 of an inch bigger than that portion. Okay, so now I'm going to thread my ribbon, and my ribbon is about, let me finish threading it. About 7 inches. And then this time, what I'm going to do is I'm not going to use glue. I'm going to use, because this works just as well, and that way I can, and then I'm just going to put a little bit of that on my ribbon. There we go. And that will hold the ribbon in place. And I'm going to line it up so that it's the same distance top and bottom. And it's just about 1/8 of an inch bigger than the second little indentation. Here we go. And then I'm going to do make sure that it's lined up. Okay, and then I want it to be popped up. So I'm going to be using my dimensionals. And so because this is halfway off, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my dimensionals, make sure I have this right, on this side, because I don't want it to show up when the card gets opened. And then I'm going to center it on this fold in the middle. Okay. All right. Now next I'm going to add some small dimensionals. So these are really little, and I want to make sure that because this little butterfly has just got a very small middle to it, I want it to be something that's narrow enough to not get in the way. And so I'm going to use my little tweezers. And that's still too big. So right, and I'm gonna fold the wings back a little bit and just put it right here. All right, and then I've got my little sprig, using my picking tool to clean out all the little pieces that didn't come out. And you know what, all these little pieces make me crazy. I got this little ladybug from Amazon. It's so cute. Okay. And then this one, I'm going to pop up again. So for this one, I'm going to use more of these dimensionals. And what I do is I cut the dimensionals in half. And then they fit in these really small spaces and don't show through when I put it down. All right. And then I'm going to put some of these little resin dots. So if you don't have fingernails and you're trying to get something like that, the Pick a Tool has a sticky end as well. And I've got just a smidge too much. Sometimes too much comes out. And I'm just going to move it a little bit. I don't have enough sticky. There we go. It doesn't want to pick these up. There we go. A little more cleanup. Okay, so this is the same card that I showed you before, but I forgot to color it. So here I'm using the, this is the Summer Splash. I'm going to use the light first. And remember, if you ever make a mistake, you can always just get the lifter, and it just takes the color right off where you had your boo-boo. I'm not coloring all the way to the end because I kind of like that look where it looks like maybe a little bit of sun is hitting that. And then I'm just going to add a little bit of dark color at the base of each of the leaves. Okay, and then there's all these little berries, little dots, and I'm going to put, and this is the light petunia pop, and I'm just going to add that to the little berries. So cute. And you've got a sweet little card to give somebody. Okay, so here's another way to do it. So I've already got some things pre-cut for this one. And I'm going to do it this way instead of the long way. So this, again, this is a Z fold, but this is 8.5 by 5.5. And then I scored at 4 1/4 and 2 1/8. And I get this Z fold. So, okay. So now let's glue on the embossed on both sides again. Hopefully I didn't just drag that in the glue. So I'm putting it on the inside edge. And then I'm going to put the other one on the inside that's folded back. It doesn't come all the way to the middle, but that's okay. I'm going to be popping up this other item in the middle. You know what I didn't think about is I didn't think about how much longer this is. I need another piece that is 5.5 inches long. And I think this is 2 1/8, or yep, 2 1/8. Okay. All right, so this, before I glue it down, I need the, there it is. So I need this, and then I need a little bit of glue on the ribbon so it stays in place. Okay, so again, I'm going to center it on this second little area and make sure it's in the middle. And then I'm just going to put a little bit of this glue to hold the ribbon down. All right, and then the same as before, I want to have my dimensionals on this side of the center line. And that way I can just center it on the fold again. And there we go. Okay, so again, I'm going to be adding the little butterfly and the sprig. They're going to overlap a little bit more because this is smaller. All right, let's see if I can cut this down. Oh, here's one that's smaller. And then I need some more small dimensionals, cutting those in half. Couple of holes that needed to be cleaned out. And just as a reminder, all I did was use the petunia pop and for the verse, and then the sprigs in the summer splash. All right, so now I just need there we go. So very sweet. Couple of different versions. Well, I hope you've had a great weekend, and I hope that you have a good evening. And if you're watching this later on YouTube, feel free to like and subscribe, and encourage your friends by sharing the ideas that I have for you. And again, my name is Angela, and I'm with Wild Violets Art. Good night.